And tonight, inshallah, when we're talking about Ali Akbar alayhi salam, what I really want to do tonight is that focus on a couple of stages when it comes to the tragedy of Ali Akbar. See, I always like to stress on the point that we like to mention history, not for the sake of history, but basically so we can learn and we can understand what really went on and we can take morals from them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةً لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. So there is a ibra, indeed, but to who ulil albab? Is that indeed there's a moral in their narratives, in those stories that we mentioned. But to who? But those who possess intellect. Meaning the only ones who possess intellect, the ones that are willing to reflect on them. We don't mention history for the sake of history, and those stories just for the sake of bedtime stories. Yes? When we talk about the stages of the tragedy of Ali Akbar alayhi salam, and shall we enter inshallah? And then I want you to really focus on certain things. You notice that Ali Akbar salawatullahi wa salam alayhi came to his father, and as I said earlier, that in Ziyara al-Jami'ah, or Ziyara al-Nahiya, is referred to as what? Awwala qatil. Is that the first of the martyrs. That's how Imam Mahdi recites the Ziyara of Ali Akbar. And some narrations do suggest that Ali Akbar was the first martyr, because Imam Hussein alayhi salam sacrificed with his own son, first, from the Bani Hashim. The narrations say that Ali Akbar alayhi salam came to his father, and he had a dialogue with him, and he took permission to enter the battlefield. And I want you to understand here and focus on certain things. See, the narrations say that Ali Akbar alayhi salam went into the battlefield. Hamid ibn Muslim describes him as that at this point the enemies could not comprehend, was it Ali or Ali? Was this Ali Akbar or Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam? This is that he resembled the strength of his grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Ali Akbar alayhi salam was trained by Al-Abbas alayhi salam. So you can imagine what kind of a knight he is. Ali Akbar alayhi salam, he goes down to the battlefield. Hamid ibn Muslim says that in his first hamla he killed what's closer to 100. As that everyone that would come to Ali Akbar alayhi salam, he would strike them on the spot. And then he came back to his father carrying the head of Bakr ibn Ghanim. And then he put it right in front of his father. Yes? And then we always recite this hadith that went on, or this dialogue, that incident that went on between Ali Akbar and his father Imam Hussein alayhi salam. What does Ali Akbar alayhi salam ask his father for? Hassan said, "Oh father, is there a sip of water?" Right? Now he doesn't say I want a cup of water or a water bottle. I want to quench my thirst. No. He asks him for what? A sip. أبا هل هناك من شربة ماء? Right? A sip of water. Now allow me here if you don't mind, and I'm sorry if I'm going to take a bit more time, but it's honestly important that I really make this point, because I'm sure that this is in our hearts altogether as a community. Now I really want to address my speech to those wonderful faces and the servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When I mean the servants, or the people who Khuddam al-Hussein, the servants of Imam Hussein, I'm not referring to myself, by the way. It's unfortunate, some people call the speakers servants of Imam Hussein. Not at all. The true servants of Imam Hussein are the ones that are in the kitchen. The true servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam are the ones that come here before and stay after. These are the true servants of Imam Hussein. The true servants of Imam Hussein are the ones working outside in the parking lot. The true servants of Imam Hussein are the ones who are really working day and night, and sometimes extra hours, finishing their jobs, waking up early in the morning, coming back here so they can prepare everything for people like myself to come and sit down and sit comfortably on this minbar. These are the true servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And these are the ones who are really servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These are the ones that honestly deserve the praise. It's not people like myself, as soon as I finish, and they say, Tayyib Allah, no, not at all. It is honestly these were the true servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. I want to speak to the true servants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. After every majlis, how many half-empty bottles of water do you find scattered around? How many of those? Sips of water. Bottles that contain either a sip of water, or half a sip of water, or half empty, half full. How many of them do you find? You find many of them. How many of scattered food do you find? Many of them. If we were to sit down and mourn Ali Akbar alayhi salam, how is it that we do not value the simplest need that Ali Akbar required on the land of Karbala, on the 10th of Muharram? How many bottles of water do you find scattered around in our cars? Or even in the house? How many of us they take with us water, and then right away we drink a bit of it, and then you don't know who's it for, and then you throw them away. One of the compliments of Imam Khomeini that his wife speaks of is what? Is that he would take with him a glass of water right beside his bed. And then he would drink from it and he would cover it with a plate. And sometimes it would take him a week, but he would insist on drinking that cup of water. But he would still finish that glass of water. Ali Akbar alayhi salam asked his father for only a sip of water. And how many sips of water do we waste? And then we cry over Ali Akbar? That doesn't make sense. That we sit down and we mourn over Ali Akbar alayhi salam. And then what? Then we don't even realize that, you know what? Is that there are certain things that we need to apply in our lives that we don't do. Then what's the point of it? And what's the reason of it? If we're not going to understand the struggles of Ahlul Bayt on the land of Karbala, then what's the point of mourning over them? So sips of Ali Akbar asked his father for a sip of water. The reply comes back from Imam Hussein alayhi salam's word. Is that what my son, you know that I do not have a sip of water to provide you with. But the least I want you to do is that I want you to put your tongue, rest your tongue over my tongue. The narration says that Ali Akbar alayhi salam left. And then he entered back the battlefield. Imam Hussein alayhi salam tells him, oh my son Ali, it is only a few moments and your grandfather Rasulullah shall learn from the pool of Kawthar.